Joined now by Rob Harris from the Associated Press, who has been following this story. Rob, firstly, can you tell us about the changes to the Champions League final that was due to take place in St Petersburg?
Yeah, that was one of the big decisions from UEFA to take the prestige of hosting the Champions League final off Russia and moving it to Paris at that executive committee meeting yesterday. So it will be at the Stade de France still in late May. And it might seem trite talking about the footballing consequences of an invasion like this, a war launched by Russia on Ukraine. But such are the sensitivities that political leaders feel about countries like Russia hosting major events in sport at this time, that actually the European Commission, the presidency of France, were actually in contact with the UEFA president, Alexander Shevrin, in the build-up to this decision being taken, because they did not want to see that game being played in Russia, and now we know the Champions League final won't be.
Yeah, and how do you think the situation will affect the upcoming World Cup qualifiers involving Russia and Ukraine?
Well, it really is a developing situation today, because the Polish FA have informed FIFA that they do not want to play Russia in their World Cup qualifying playoff semi-final. It's due to be in a month's time in Moscow. They'd already said earlier in the week that they wouldn't play in Moscow. Now they're saying they shouldn't have to play Russia at all. And the decision's being backed by Polish players publicly. We've got Lewandowski, who said that he finds it inconceivable that he can face Russia at a time that they're being so aggressive, while knowing that the players themselves aren't responsible, the people of Russia aren't responsible. So now a big decision for FIFA to take about what happens to that semi-final game, also impacting Sweden, the Czech Republic, who meet in the other semi-final in that bracket. We did have a decision from UEFA yesterday that any of their games involving Russian and Ukrainian teams should not take place on that soil at the moment. Of course, for several years, since 2014, the annexation of Crimea by Russia, Ukrainian and Russian teams have been kept apart in UEFA draws, which just is a reminder of how politics does intersect with sport so often.
Yeah, just picking up on that, Rob, how do you think going forward the balance of global football will be affected, considering the influence Russia has 4 years on from hosting a World Cup?
There were so many hopes around that World Cup, particularly from FIFA and Gianni Infantino, that it'd be transformational for Russia. He met Vladimir Putin around the tournament, was talking about being on the same team and people seeing a new Russia. But actually, what we've seen in the last week, now at this moment, with Russia attacking Ukraine unprovoked, is Russia has continued on the same trend since 2014, when it started to invade Ukraine. And also, it's corrupted sport too in that time. The state-sponsored doping scheme, which affected not only the Olympics but also football, means that if Russia were to qualify at the World Cup, were to remain there, they won't even be called Russia. Of course, big decisions for Gianni Infantino to make. He himself received the Order of Friendship medal from Vladimir Putin in the last couple of years. So a very close association, which certainly has benefited Russia more than FIFA.
Yeah, Rob, thank you for those